We back. We ain't going nowhere. That ain't no song. Just something I just made up real quick. But we're here. I'm here. You're here. Mind. Being single sometimes, you say to yourself, hey, I still got a good mind. I know I could tap in, still to women and say certain things and act certain kinds of ways and, to get stuff done. Body. Yeah, I'm still, in the gym trying to do a few extra push-ups and stuff. And, still, hey, see a few bodies I like and want. No soul. No soul. That's where, as being single for a while, you start to understand that is where there is a lack of. And what I mean by no soul, like not no soul food or not, they don't have rhythm. But soul as far as having, and I've said a little bit about this before, having any kind of emotional integrity, having a feeling of, hey, listen, soul, for lack of better words, soulmates, or really locking in to this person. And then so I had to sit back and I think to myself and say, well, when you're living a single kind of way, you are a lot of times, you're just looking for people to pass the time, and then eventually you hope that somebody will come along that'll be like a great person for you or a great fit for you, and somebody that you could possibly see settling with. And then sometimes that actually does happen. Because, in the last few years on my single journey here, that has come across my desk where I assume that these could possibly be the one. Say she is the one. And so time goes along and, you're having fun and you're dealing. But because as all of us are, as you get a little older, and as I always say, 35 and older, you've seen a lot. You've been through a lot. You're a little more cynical. You're much more of a skeptic. So you think to yourself, is this too good to be true? Is she such and such? Is she this? Is she bang? Then it happens. Your eyes start to open back up again. And now you see what you don't like. You start to feel how you don't want to feel. I've said this before. You're sitting near the phone. You're thinking to yourself, why hasn't she called me back? Why has she not called me in a good, timely manner? I just took her out for a $200 dinner a couple of weeks ago. I just did something really nice for this one's birthday 2 months ago. Where's the connection at? Now, for all of my married friends out there, this is something that, I'm assuming that, you have, and it's from time to time where, just like with any relationship, it ebbs and it flows, and you do feel this kind of connection, but you've already gotten the hard part out of the way because you've gone to the altar and you've made this certain level of commitment, so therefore that's already framework in place. But when you're single, it's still kind of like you've become this canvas with stuff on it, but now you're still trying to paint your Picasso. You start to go back and start remembering or trying to remember what a Rembrandt looks like. Not that I ever did, but you have become out of relationship training. And it's funny, I remember I met this girl one time at a bar. It's a nice bar though. It's got pool tables. And, she was cool. And, we vibed and everything like that. And I mean, I'm serious. Like, we actually left from the bar, went to like the back of the bar, and we were talking for like, I'm serious, maybe about an hour while the music is going and everything like that. And I was like, wow, don't tell me I feel this connection with a bar babe. But I said, all right, cool. That's what's up. That's what's up. So then we started talking and everything and like that. And I remember she said to me, she was like, Greg, I've been single. And so I said, hey, how long have you been single for? She said, I've been single for over 5 years. I said, oh. She was a nice looking girl, had a nice body. And I'm saying to myself, wow, like I couldn't even wrap my mind around it. She was like mid-30s. I couldn't even wrap my mind around like what I don't even remember seeing a woman being single for 5 years, 6 years. That's like unheard of to me, but I'm thinking, hey, look, I'm at the time I was, about 10 years, 12 years older than her. So I'm like, all right, well, cool. Maybe it's a little different. It's a little different. So, all right, different times, just different generations. So I'm thinking to myself like, all right, well, that's different. And I said, well, why have you been single for over 5 years? Well, my last situation with the guy, it just didn't go right and anything is, and such. And, I wanted kids. He already had kids already. He was unwilling to do that. And then he was cheating. So I moved on. I said, oh, wow. Okay. I get it. I understand. But I still couldn't understand why she was single. Then a few days go past. And I say to her, well, you know what? Let's link. Let's go out. Let's, get something to eat real quick, or whatever. Just, a little lunch or whatever. And so we go out, do that and everything. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. We had already divulged some information about, like she was still kind of talking to somebody or whatever. And I was like, yo, I'm single, what I mean? Talk to a few people. But, if we want to link, let's link. So then went out once, I think twice maybe. Then all within the same week. Then come around, she tells me, I called, I was like, well, what's up? Let's link, let's go do such. And she hit me with the, well, I mean, that's cool. I'm glad and I'm feeling you. I'm glad you like getting together with me and everything like that. But, I'll have to see if I can, and this is by text message. I have to see if I can get out. And I said, shorty, you just told me you were single for the last 5+ years. What do you mean, see if you can get out? But she did tell me about this guy that she was seeing or whatever, but it was like really off because he had a situation and all this other kind of stuff. But I'm like, okay, so are you single, shorty, or you not? You feeling a cat or you not? So she says to me, I'll have to see if I can get out. And I'm thinking to myself, you single, no kids, no man. What do you mean? So I text her back, what do you mean? So she hits me back and says, well, I told you about the situation that I had, such and such. And I sat and said to myself, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. And that was a while ago. But I said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, you are still locked in, essentially, with somebody else. And that's what's going to take your time away from coming to link with me after you just told me you were single for 5+ years. So, shorty, you ain't really single. If somebody else has your time, or if that's what you're telling me, somebody else has your time, guess what? You're not single. You're in some kind of whatever poly or whatever's going on, but you're not single. And that's what I would tell anybody out there, man or woman. If you got a good connection with somebody, they need to be honest with you. Either they are single or they are not. And that's what I mean. So even in a situation with like her, I didn't get her body. You know what I'm saying? I thought I had a little bit of her mind for a little while. But I realized that she had no soul, at least no soul for me. Or if you can remember the group Soul for Real. She didn't have any soul for me. And along the single journey, I've seen a few times now where, you get involved with somebody and they have no soul for me. And I know there's other people out there who you've dealt with a person and they have no soul for you. The only thing that you are good at, like I was talking about yesterday with the high guy, the only thing you are good at having is your mind. You know what I mean? Or, when somebody wants to have fun, your body or their body, but a lot of lack of soul. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine all the homies and people out there that are married, that if and of course you wouldn't have married them, right? But your wife, your fiance, whomever, and you dealt with them, but then they told you, oh well, I can't kind of see you in a couple of days this week because I'm with somebody else, or I kind of whatever, such and such and such and such. Well, how about this? You clear up all of that stuff before you come over to Big Papa. Clear it all up. Get it together. Get it together. Because see, when you're younger, you got time, all the time in the world to play all these stupid games, silly games and everything like that. And conversely, I had to make sure a relationship is what I wanted. And I know at times that's not what I wanted. So I don't knock anybody else for the way they feel, knock any women for the way they feel. But I'm just saying, as a man, as a single man, I'm seeing a lot of women with lack of soul, lack of heart to say, hey, listen, my brother, I'm feeling you. I dig you. You can sit on the phone with me and we can converse. We can challenge minds. Hey, I might even give you some. We can body each other. But where's the heart at? Where's the soul? When do you want to say, hey, listen, I'm going to be a whole woman, not somebody who's with this person and that person and this person? Because like I always tell you, when you're younger, I totally get it. Everybody's running around, playing around, having fun, except those of us who are serious. And a lot of times those people who've been serious have been more successful in marriage, in life, period, right? But, if you're a cat like me, joked around, played around a lot, could have possibly missed out on his wife already. Right. But still, with age, I'm finding does not breed maturity. It does not breed results. Because if it did, I guess I probably would have been married 5 or 6 times, or at least one good long time. And like I always say, I take accountability and responsibility for my own shortcomings and the things that I've done wrong. But I'm telling you now, if you're one of those guys out there single and you're still dating and all that other kind of stuff, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of women with no soul. To tell you the truth, to really understand situations. There's situational things that if you are dealing with a woman, she should understand. She should understand why you don't want her homies to have your phone number or Instagram or whatever. I know most people are connected by Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. I get it. But men don't want a woman who is sharing her exclusive rights, which is her phone number, with other friends, especially your homies. You don't want it. Now, maybe that sounds a little old and traditional to some of y'all, but it sounds like good common sense. So you tell me though, do you find a lot of these women out here have no soul? And for women, do you find a lot of guys out here that don't have any soul? I can't speak from that because I'm only a guy that dates women. So I don't know. All I know is that if you don't have any soul, if you're dating somebody that isn't showing you the soul, how can you make a connection? You can't. But hey, That's just one guy's opinion, as I always tell you. You tell me what you think. You know, do you think people have soul? Or maybe, hey, listen, maybe I'm dating in the wrong places. Who knows? But guess what? Don't tell anybody. Live life. Don't let life live you.